Happy Wednesday, Saints. Pastor Dave here with another weekly devotional for you, and I'm going to start again this week with a reading from Sarah Arthur's one-year daily grind. This devotional is called Exhaustion. I'm exhausted. I've had weeks to catch up on sleep since I returned home from youth camp, but I'm still dead on my feet. Every day we went to bed around midnight, got up by 7 a.m., and didn't stop running crazy until we dropped into bed again 17 hours later. I used to live at that pace all the time, especially during my college years, and I always wondered why I felt so crummy in the mornings then too. The truth is, after a while, that kind of lifestyle takes its toll, which means we pay for it later. Think about the story of the disciples in the boat, with Jesus crashed in the stern. We wonder how he possibly could have slept through a storm so violent that the boat was getting swamped with water pouring over the sides and the disciples unable to bail fast enough. The wind must have been horrific too, ripping at the sails, tangling the lines, snatching words so the disciples had to shout to be heard, and still Jesus slept. All I can think is how tired he must have been. Not just from 2 weeks of intense ministry like my camp, but from 2 years at least, if not more. All day long he poured himself into the needy, the hurting, the diseased, the lonely. He counseled late-night visitors such as Nicodemus. He got up early to go off by himself and pray. When did he sleep? Not very often. On boats, apparently, when the rocking of the waves gradually lulled his tired eyes closed, sheer exhaustion occasionally took over. And yet the world needed him. The disciples shook him awake, and instead of moping and complaining and falling asleep again, he summoned the energy to halt the wind and the waves. What kind of man was this, that even his own body obeyed him? You know, saints, we all understand what it's like to be tired, to be worn out. I got back from vacation recently, and you know how people say, after you get home from vacation, you need another vacation, but vacation makes you tired. Well, on this one in particular, it was 2 full days of travel to get home, and shuffling from one airport terminal to the next, one gate to the next, no sleep except for what I got on the plane. I was tired by the time I got home. I know what it means to feel wiped out and to just need to rest. I'm sure you do too. And I love how Sarah brings it back to this story about Jesus in the boat, the back of the boat, while the disciples get caught in the storm, and realizing how utterly human, how completely normal it would be for him to be tired, to be at a point where even a great storm couldn't wake him up. Jesus worked hard while he was walking the earth. He went from place to place. He didn't have any easy mode of transportation. He was walking everywhere he went, and went from place to place, and everywhere he arrived, people were gathered around wanting to hear from him, wanting to reach out and touch him, wanting to be healed by him, wanting to learn something from him. It was an exhausting life, that lifestyle of ministry that Jesus led for those years in Galilee with his disciples. I think it's easy for us to lose sight of Jesus' humanity when we think about his divinity. It's easy for us to forget how hard he worked and how normal, how real it would be for him to come to those times where he just had to rest. He just had to fall asleep and let it all go for a while. And yet the world, as Sarah pointed out, still needed him. And there were those times when Jesus was dragged away from the prayer, from the retreat, from the sleep that he as a human being needed, and was dragged back into the ministry that he as the Son of God alone could perform. I think sometimes if we think about ourselves doing ministry and needing to pour more and more in until we've got nothing left, we can kind of get confused and think that we should be able to keep up with Jesus. But we are only human. Whereas he was human and divine, we are only human. There is only so much that we can do. And at some point, we've got to take a step back and say, I need a break. Can't do it all. And that's okay. Saints, are you succeeding in the ministry that you're doing? Are you having an impact? Are you creating the effect that you want? Or have you run out of gas? Are you at the place where you need to take a break, where you need to hear from God, where you need to spend time in rest and reflection and restoration so that you will be prepared to once again go out and serve? Think about it. Consider where you are on your mission journey right now. And saints, I'm praying for you. Hope you'll keep praying for me. I hope you're staying healthy and doing well, and I will see you again soon. Take care.